Welcome or welcome back to my channel, Literary Lauren. This video is dedicated to curing my reading slump. I am in the worst slump of my life. Last week, I read myself into that slump. So we know where it started, and I am going to keep the intro very short and sweet because past Lauren has a bit of a theory in regards to slumps. She was very excited about telling it. So I'm going to pass it on to my very delirious and tired past self, and she's going to explain what we're doing in today's video. I have a bit of a theory when it comes to book slumps, and it is centered around the life cycle of the book slump. I can pinpoint the very start and genesis of my first book slump of 2025. At the very top of this life cycle is the catalyst. It is the thing that you are either flying through a series that you love, or you're deep into this world and you just want to get more and more, or you read something that's just so good. This is the height. This is when you feel like you're on top of the world. It's the catalyst. It's the thing that sets a book slump in motion. For me, that was the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver. I was loving it. I read 5 books in 6 days. Then you get to the next stage in book slump territory, and it's the descent. Now, for me, I moved on to the Gold Rush Ranch series. And so I had a lot more content to consume. Life was going great, but I didn't love them as much as the Chestnut Spring series. And so my reading acceleration slowed down. Your reading gets a little bit slower and you're appreciating the height of the books that were before. This is the stage that you can rectify. You can go back a step after you hit this second step. But once you reach the third step, which I'm calling pulling into station slump, it's where the train slows and you just halt. For me, this was reading the Legends of Thersmar series. I think pulling out of station slump and getting yourself back to the height of your reading goals, your reading career, your reading happiness, you need to dive back into something that's God tier. Read something with low stakes, heightened enjoyment, and just a little bit chill. Am I maybe shooting myself in the foot? Possibly. But we are going to hopefully bring this slump around. We're going to read the Rose Hill series by Elsie Silver to cure my book slump. I am going to dive into Wild Love by Elsie Silver, the first book in the Rose Hill series. I'm tabbing it this time. I think the pinnacle and the most joyful experience of reading a book is by annotating it and just putting little doodles in the margins. And I think this is also going to contribute to my success of getting myself out of a slump because I want to make it fun. Let me show you. I'm the sunshine to your grumpy. I thought I would take you along for reading this series because it's well known enough and they're interconnected standalones, so I can tell you about each of them without being worried about spoiling it. But I'm so excited to dive into this series and curing the book slump with you all and testing the theory that I have so long thought about but haven't had the chance to experiment with and test. Tell me what got you out of a reading slump, because this doesn't work, then we're in trouble. It is Saturday and it is day 1 of getting me out of the slump that I'm currently in, and I'm basically only 3 chapters in Wild Love by Elsie Silver, but we have started tabbing. It is successful. I'm vibing with it so far. I am just going to read I think 2 chapters because I ate some lunch just to feel a little bit normal, so I'm just going to sit and read for a little bit before I dive into my freelance work for the night. Been a couple of days since I last updated you, just because yesterday was Mother's Day and I didn't get a chance to read too much, so I am checking in to let you know that I have basically gotten almost 75% of the way through Wild Love by Elsie Silver in the last couple of days. I am well and truly really liking it. It is wholesome. It's that cup of tea that just warms you from within, and it's just a beautiful story about pining and love and bickering with someone, but deep down you know you really love them, and I'm just really vibing with it. I think the fever of the book slump has well and truly broken, and we're getting into the territory of enjoying books again. It's feeling like a 4.5 stars. I don't know if it's that 5-star feeling yet. I may have seemed a little bit low energy in the last clip, but turns out I was extremely hungry. So I went and ate some food, and while I was doing that, I finished Wild Love by Elsie Silver, and it is a 4.5. I absolutely loved this book. I think the childhood frenemies turned lovers is such a fun trope. They know each other so well, and that mutual pining and longing for each other just came to fruition in the most beautiful way. I love Ford. I love Ford, and I love Rosie. I think they're super fun together as well as apart as individuals. I think their story was very interesting. I really vibed with them. A really solid couple to start off a new series. I definitely picked up on who was going to be the love interest for the next book, and boy am I excited. I started Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. If you see me holding up and you can see how atrocious this looks, my puppy decided he wanted to give me and my book a little cuddle after playing in the mud, and I'm devastated. But you know what? He wanted his hand at sprayed edges with mud, so it's not looking as pretty as it could. But Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver follows West, which is Rosie's brother, and you know what? I love a hero that is silly, funny, goofy all the time, all day, every day. But Weston in the previous book really was the perfect example of the type of character where he is protective of his own, he's loyal, and he kind of just makes everyone laugh. He's the comedic relief that everyone wants and needs in their lives. To find out that he was the hero of this book and we were going to see his like sensitive romantic side, yeah, sign me up. Skylar, a pretty famous singer, country singer, is our heroine for this book, and she is escaping her life in Los Angeles, and she goes to Rose Hill to record her album with Ford from the first book because he opened like a producing company. She basically runs away from her life, ends up on their doorstep way too early because the cottages or something aren't ready for her to stay in yet, and says, hey, can you help me out? I kind of just want to stay here. And so it's going to be a forced proximity novel, given that Weston and Skylar are going to have to stay on the same kind of land while the cottages get up and running on Ford's land in terms of his producing studio setup. I'm going to read you the first line because I reckon if you want to hook a reader, this is how you do it. The sun is shining, the lake is sparkling, and there's another tourist on the side of the road trying to get a selfie with the bear. I was hooked. It's pretty fun so far, and the main character has a bird. And if anyone knows me, I have 3 birds. Skylar gets called Bird Girl in the first 5 chapters, and you know what? I'm kind of here for it. Her and I are going to get along purely because she has a sassy bird and I've got a bird that has an attitude. So I think her and I are going to get along just fine. I think I'm going to read for 20 minutes, let my food digest, and then I'm going to go to the gym, and I will probably check in with you when I get 50% of the way through this book. I'm already 52 pages in. I think I'm going to fly through it. Something about Elsie Silver's second book in series, it's always the best. I'm having fun so far. I think I'm out of the slump. I'm really loving just having fun with characters, giggling, laughing along. It's the next day. I forgot to update you when I got to 50%, but I went and finished the book in the following 24 hours. I'm rating this one 4 stars. I was slightly disappointed that we didn't get to see the songwriting / recording process for Skylar's music. It was such a fundamental part of her growth that she was doing that for herself, and I wish we saw more of that, or any of that, to be frank. It was such a beautiful story of healthy growth, of loving yourself and finding self-assuredness before you enter into a romantic relationship, but also finding healing with romantic relationships. I loved Skylar's relationship with Ollie and Emmy. I think that was really beautiful, especially given that Ollie is very slow to warm up to strangers. I thought it was very nice seeing him straight off the bat feel comfortable with Skylar, and how then Skylar treated the kids in trying to protect them. I did really like it. I just wish we got a little bit more. Even a little bit of West's, I want to say, hesitation into entering into a committed relationship. It's pretty early on that he says that he hasn't done anything committed and long-term for quite a while, and I wish we got to unpack West coming to terms with it more. But I think it was just this perfect story of a person just comes into your life and it's right person, right time, right circumstances, and it's just this beautiful falling into place of joy and love for each other. I had a very relaxing morning though. I got my flu shot, so my arm is quite sore, so maybe not the most relaxing ever, but I took myself out to lunch to celebrate the fact that I got a part-time job. Little bit of a life update for you. I got the job last week and I start in a couple weeks time. It'll mostly be within graphic design and marketing, which I'm very, very excited about, and I resigned from working in pharmacy. So my last shift is next week, which feels really, really surreal given that I've worked in pharmacy for basically 6 years now. It's kind of wild
to me that probably it's not going to be a part of my life anymore. I'm not going to need to know all of these stupid facts that I've accumulated over the 6 years working in pharmacy of different medical conditions and how to treat them. It just feels surreal. It's never felt as right as this position does, as this move does. So I feel really good about it. It's going to be very daunting, and I think I'm going to give myself some grace transitioning into a different workplace because I know I'm going to be absolutely mentally exhausted, but I'm so ready to give it a red hot go. I don't know. I'm just really excited for this new chapter of my life. My reading might be put on the back burner a little bit. This is like the 49th book I've read this year, and part of that is most likely that I wasn't in part-time, full-time work. So I'm working 3.5 days, so I still have 1.5 days during the week to do nothing. By nothing, I mean I'm going to be doing freelance, so I'm going to be fostering my own business. Yeah, that's my little life update. I think I'm going to try and soak up the free time that I have left because I know I'm going to be absolutely floored and exhausted when I start work. I need to start this next book because I need to keep riding this wave of breaking the slump, and I am excited what the next book holds. I'm pretty sure it follows Reese and Tabitha, which is it a spoiler? I don't want to spoil it actually, but their relationship is kind of hinted at in this book, so I'm interested. I spent the rest of my afternoon reading, so I am a fair way into this book, but I wanted to at least get a little bit past what the synopsis on the back details before I come and update you. Minor spoilers for the second book and more of the series because they are interconnected standalones. You do find out a little bit about these two main characters' stories prior to this book coming out, and Wildside actually kind of overlaps with the second book in the series, Wild Eyes. There is very minor spoilers, but as soon as you open this book, you find out everything. So this is the heaviest one in the series and potentially one of the heaviest stories in all of Elsie Silver's repertoire. We follow Tabitha. She has recently taken in her nephew after her sister has died of an overdose. She's in the thick of her grief, but also needing to be a comfort and hopefully potentially a guardian for her nephew. Then we are also following Reese. Reese is within their lives, and Tabitha's sister Erica signed over guardianship of her child to Reese, and Tabitha and Reese don't know each other very well at all. They are both grieving this woman that they both thought they knew, and all of that happens 170 pages in. So you are well and truly invested in this book when you get past what's in the synopsis on the back of the book, and I think that is needed. We need the time to see them grieve and to see them grow to a point of not hatred, because it starts out as a lot of hatred, a lot of anger and grief fueling that. It's very needed and necessary for these two characters to have some time to defrost, even slightly. These two are still very much in the thick of their grief. I would say Tabitha more so, because she's been the middleman for a very long time. She was the person in the middle between her parents' relationship with her sister, built the bridge to have their grandson have a relationship with their grandparents, if that makes sense. She was the bridge between all of them. Now she's no longer the bridge, but she is the person upholding this young boy's safety, security, love, and then a guy gets thrown into the mix, and one that she doesn't know well. I think it's tackled well. I mean, I haven't experienced or gone through anything that's it within the book, so I'm not going to say it's palatable, but it's easily digestible, and all of the character motivations and actions seem within the realm of possibility. Some reveals you have to suspend your disbelief, but that's any book within a romance setting. You just kind of have to be like, yeah, okay, how romantic are we really are here? This is not like a fun, silly, goofy time. This is a beautiful love story coming out of a very hard circumstance, and it's finding happiness in amongst the grief, finding moments of comfort and healing. This one delves deeper. Looking back, the book before this, Weston and oh my god, what's her name? Am I losing it? Shit, what's her name? Oh, Weston and Skylar's love story was like a precursor. It's almost night and day. That one's very optimistic, sunshiny. This one is the depth after the palate cleanser. I've just met who is going to be in the next one. I kind of love that the love interests are following the 4 people from the bowling club. It's like the Rose Hill Bowling Club series, and it just follows all of them rather than it being brothers like the Chestnut Springs series or a bunch of friends. In the Gold Rush Ranch, it is a bunch of guys that have a bowling club, which is kind of iconic. Anyway, I'm looking forward to that 4th book. Don't get me wrong, I'm very excited for it. I think it comes out in September, so that's going to be a most anticipated read of the end of this year. But I'm going to dive back into this one because I am actually flying by. I've read 270 pages. I'm going to go keep reading.
I realized that I forgot to close out this vlog and give you my final thoughts of Wild Side by Elsie Silver. I really liked this one. I think I gave it a 4 to a 4.5 stars. I think the conversations about grief were beautiful. Tabby and Reese finding healing and connection through their shared grief, even though their grief came from different places, one being from a neighbor, a friendly neighbor, and one being from a sister. So I thought the conversations of grief were really well done, and I think the love story was believable. Not only could they find love even through their grief, they were able to find healing within one another. Their love could be and was separate from the grief that they were experiencing, even though they helped each other on the way. Towards the end, there was not a third act breakup, but a third act event that could have really annoyed me. It could have been an easy way to have a third act breakup. The third act event turned into something that only strengthened their relationship, which I was very, very thankful for, because if it went the route that I had initially thought, it was going to be like bumped down a star, because these two had been through too much to just drop it where they would have dropped it. I'm trying to be vague, but the girls that get it. The girls that have read this book will understand, hopefully, what I'm saying. I'm very excited for the next book in the series, and I love that we got a little teaser of who it's going to be about in this book. Not so much the other books, but I'm so excited for that. It's safe to say I cured my reading slump well and truly. I have loved watching my footage back of reading these books, even though I read them like literally 2 weeks ago. I'm so glad that I did read them, and I am so glad that I took you along for that journey. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.